Yo, 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 what's going on, guys? Joey Buck is back here with another video for you guys. And in this video, guys, it's Saturday afternoon. I'm going to give you my game picks for the divisional round of the 2022 NFL season. I'm very pressed on time today, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to do this quicker than I would have liked. But without further ado, let's jump right on into it. So coming up with the first game in just a couple hours, we have the 9-8 Jaguars at the 14-3 Chiefs, but more specifically, 4-seeded Jaguars at the 1-seeded Chiefs. So the Chiefs are obviously fresh coming off the bye. Jaguars with that crazy comeback against the Chargers last week. This is going to be a really interesting game. One storyline for the for the Jaguars during the regular season was that the Jaguars, they may have lost 8 games, but almost all of their losses were like by a score or less. I think one of the only teams that beat them by more than a score were the Chiefs. They lost 27-17 to them, but that was only 10 points. I also think the Jaguars are a better team now. So I do think the Jaguars will give the Chiefs their stiffs, but at the same time, they did get some luck to help them out last week against the Chargers, and there were some areas where they looked pretty bad. And if they get down big to the Chiefs, they will not come back and win because the Chiefs know how to hold on to a lead, and Mahomes will not blow a lead like that. So with that in mind, I think the Jaguars will give them a tough battle, but I think the Chiefs are going to pull this one out. They're at home at the top seed. They're somewhat healthy. It's going to be Kansas City winning this game, guys, 27-20. But again, it should be a very good game. Okay, guys, and then coming up with tonight, we're switching over to the NFC now. We have the 6-seeded Giants at the 1-seeded Eagles. So the Giants, pretty impressive win last week against the Vikings. That was a shootout, very well-played game on both sides, but the Giants pulled it out, so good for them. The Eagles, meanwhile, they too, top seed, so fresh coming off the bye. And then Jalen Hurts is back tonight. He was dealing with that shoulder sprain something in his shoulder. There was some joint sprain or something. He's back now. I don't know how he's feeling, but I'm sure, they gave him a lot of rest, so that should help. At the same time, on the flip side, it might mean he'll be a little bit rusty tonight, which I definitely could see. He's a young quarterback. He hasn't played in quite some time. I have seen this road before. But I'm not saying he's going to be horrible, but you do have to monitor the rust, and there's a good chance that he's not quite as good as he could be tonight. The Giants, meanwhile, it's kind of like an uneven setup for them because, the theme for the past couple years, their defense has always been pretty good, but their offense had been a disaster. This year, at least I'm going to talk about last week, their offense has been good, and it's actually been getting better as the season has gone on. Daniel Jones has been playing better. Barkley's been very good because he's finally healthy. The receivers are starting to play better. And not Galladay, but besides him, the receivers are doing all right. So the offense is starting to get it going. The defense, though, has been questionable for sure. Last week they were pretty bad against Minnesota. Yes, they came out clutch in the end, but they let up plenty of big plays. So with that in mind, they're going to have to play better defense if they want to win this game. Obviously, they're going to have to go right back to where they were against the Vikings. But the Eagles' defense is also shaky as well. It's not great. So I could see the Giants moving the ball on them decently. At the end of the day, though, the Eagles are at home. They're fresh. They're rested. They're a very well-coached team. Granted, I think the Giants are too, but I think the Eagles are going to pull this one out. Eagles are also much better at home than on the road. It's going to be Philadelphia pulling this one out, guys. Let's go with Philadelphia 24-20. Should be, again, a very good game. Okay, guys, now we're moving on to tomorrow's games. We have the 3-seeded Bengals at the 2-seeded Bills. So this is going to be a really good game. I know it's playoffs, but this should be really, really fun to watch. Obviously, this is a rematch from the game that got canceled a few weeks ago. This time it's in Buffalo, though, not in Cincinnati. And I guess you could say it's not really a rematch because the game barely got going before the incident happened. So I would say that, it's kind of like it feels a little bit weird, but, they're going to be able to play each other after all. We'll put it that way. They're going to meet again. They can't escape each other forever. So in this game, Bengals are the 3 seed, Bills are the 2 seed. The Bengals pulled out what should have been a loss, but they pulled it out against the Ravens last week. The Bills, at first, to start last game against the Dolphins, it was looking really, really promising and looked like they were going to dominate. But they kind of, let their foot off the gas pedal, and the Dolphins really gave them their stiffs. They took a couple leads later in the game, but the Bills were able to hang on and win. However, outside of that, the Bills, offensively, they played well. The bigger issue was they did turn the ball over. Allen did not play very well. He had, 2, maybe even 3 picks? I don't know. He threw at least 2 picks, and that can't happen. And the Bengals, the Dolphins' defense doesn't even force that many turnovers. The Bengals' defense forces a lot of turnovers. So that's going to be a problem for Josh Allen for sure. He's going to need to get it going, and he's going to need to protect the football if the Bills want to win this game. And then defensively, I'm really curious to see how they match up. Obviously, again, it's really small sample size. last week before the incident happened, the Bengals were moving the ball kind of at ease. They scored a touchdown in the first drive. They got the ball back after the Bills got a field goal, and they were marching right down the field again. However, it was early in the game. Defensive adjustments can be made. I'm not saying that they would have scored like 40 points, but the Bengals at least started off hot offensively. We'll put it that way. So with that in mind, the problem is, it's not that they could say, okay, let's take what we learned from this last game and then, make adjustments for this game. Because, again, the game just really didn't get going. So it's really going to be interesting to see what happens here. This is, of course, has never happened before. So this is the first full meeting, assuming all goes well during the game. Praying it does. But I'm going to have to go with the Bengals, man. They're hot right now. I know offensively they didn't play great last week, but the Bills have some flaws. Their defense is always shaky in the playoffs. Like last week, the Bills defense was just not good at all. Skylar Thompson really gave him a hard time. How many points did the Dolphins score? Like 30, 35, something. The Bills defense is always shaky in the playoffs for whatever reason. So I think the Bengals will take advantage of that. I think the Bills will do pretty well offensively. But I'm cheering for the Bills, but unfortunately, I think the Bengals are going to pull this one out. So give me Cincinnati winning this game, guys. 35-31. This one is going to be high scoring. Okay, guys, last game coming up tomorrow night. We have the 5-seeded Cowboys and the 2-seeded Niners. So, gotta say, the Cowboys impressed me the other night on Monday against the Bucs. They really just dominated that game. I do think, the turning point in that game was the Brady interception, like at the 6-yard line of the Cowboys. It was 6-0 Cowboys. They had missed the extra point. And the Bucs were driving. They were about to score, and they were perhaps going to take the lead if they made the extra point, but then Brady threw a pick in the red zone. Very, very unlike him. That totally changed the theme of the game. Now, the Bucs were close to going up 7-6, or at least making it 6-3. Instead, they threw a pick, and the Cowboys got the ball back and drove right down the field. So that was, a huge turning point in the game. However, not going to shorten the credit for the Cowboys. They played well. Prescott played really well. It was definitely his best playoff game. His receivers were on the same page. The Bucs. Why do I keep saying the Bucs? The Cowboys defense played well. Also, they really frustrated Brady. Their pass rush got home. So pretty much all good for the Cowboys. They played really, really well Monday night. Niners, meanwhile, a little bit of a shaky first half last week against Seattle, but they absolutely took control in the second half. They dominated. They were getting the ball moving on the ground, through the air. Their defense stepped up. So the Niners should be feeling pretty good about this game. This is going to be an interesting game because I think both quarterbacks are definitely vulnerable in the playoffs, but they both are coming off good playoff performances, Purdy and Prescott. I know Purdy, it was his first playoff game, but, young quarterbacks in the playoffs generally struggle at first, okay? It's just the way it is. Young quarterbacks have a habit of struggling in the playoffs early on. The only true exception was Mahomes, if you ask me. Anyways, with it being in San Francisco, of course, the Niners way better at home than on the road. I know the Cowboys played well last week, but I don't know if 31 points is even going to be enough. They scored 31. The Niners offense is just dealing right now. Granted, the Cowboys defense is better now than it used to be, but I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with the run and the pass. That's the thing about the Niners. They have a great running game and passing game. Christian McCaffrey's been doing well. Deebo Samuel's getting involved. So it's going to be a really tough task, and I think the Cowboys offense will, get something going. The Niners defense is tough, but I think the Cowboys offense will have their way to a point, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Niners are going to keep rolling. So give me San Francisco winning this game, guys. 31-24. But again, should be a good game and no blow. I'm not expecting any blowouts this week at all. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And excuse me, I am out. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy these games, guys. Can't wait for more playoff football. You're all about the homies. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all next weekend.